like I said, 90% of these operators are in Lagos. Why should that division remain in Abuja? So either we're going to move the divisions to Lagos again, or greater part of the staff will also be there, so that we ensure that at any given time we are on the same page with the operators. Because what we have seen in the last 20-30 years is the record that the operators have is actually different from our own records. So again, this will enable us to make sure that every registered operator in the market has current data with us. It also eases the pressure on the part of the operator from flying from Lagos to come to Abuja. But we still keep some staff within those divisions to cater from those capital market operators that are based in Abuja and the other northern part of the country. So strategically, that's what we're doing. The main focus, like I said, is to ensure that there is regular inspection of capital market operators to ensure that anybody operating in this market is fit and proper.
Do you think some firms in the Nigerian market are perhaps not too big to fail, but are systemically important based on the stress tests you've done, investigations and oversight you've done for the industry?
Yes, again, we've seen that some firms that we used to think that they are too big to fail have actually failed. And we have also realized that some firms are too big and they have different multiple functions. So that's why we came up with the, with the inspection manual in terms of systemically important firms. We identify them, we look at the kind of functions they do. So when we're inspecting them, we go with experts that can look at their books as fund managers, look at their books as broker dealers, we look at their books as trustees or as issuing houses. Because if we don't do that, we won't be able to ascertain that the size and the capacity and the risk they take is commensurate to the level of the capital that they have.
You've been doing everything. You took office about the time when the economy was heading into recession, so you're not the man to be envied. As it were, heading the SEC, you weren't there when the market was booming. You came in at the time when the market was at the bottom. 2015, 2016, the market was negative as far as the stock market was concerned. So how have you been able managing the resources of the SEC vis-a-vis the broader economy in which you operate?
Very true, but it's been very tough, and I used to tell people that I wish I had come in 2010, not 2015. But we've been managing. Sadly, the Securities and Exchange Commission of Nigeria is the only institution in the world that relies totally on what the market is able to fund it. So in other jurisdictions, the Securities Commission will prepare its budget. Whatever it is budget, it will not be levied, on the market. So for instance, if my budget is 5 billion, the market will now fund me with 5 billion. But it's only in Nigeria that as of today, if our budget is 5 billion and the market can only give us 2 billion, that's our own business. We now have to find a way to manage that. So that's a very difficult situation. That's a very precarious situation. And it was reflected in our 2016 account. Our income dropped by 43%. But when we came on board in January, we anticipated that the market, wasn't going to be as robust as, as it used to be. So we came up with a very strategic and cost-cutting measures. Happily enough, as our income dropped by 43% in 2016, our expenditure also dropped by 48%. So that's what has been keeping us afloat. And we are praying, making all efforts to see that the market has come up so that our income would also go up, and the impact it will have on the economy would also be high.
But within these very limited resources, that time was when you decided to launch the Nigerian Capital Market Roadmap. That very ambitious program you are launching at the time when the market was in the red, as it were. So how have you been managing this roadmap to make sure that it succeeds?
Well, that's true. When I came on board in January 2015, you remember I said that my plan is going to be largely to implement the master plan. Sometimes when I look back, I used to wonder how we've been able to implement it, given the limited resources. But I think God is on our side, and the entire market is also on our side. For the 2015, all the initiatives we came up with, the direct cash settlement, the e-dividend, the dematerialization, the recapitalization, the National Investor Protection Fund, the scorecard, have all been achieved. As of today, for the first time in the history of the Nigerian capital market, 100% of shares have been dematerialized. As of June last year, only 40% of those shares have been dematerialized. But as of today, we have achieved 100%. On the e-dividend, we've also done quite well. At the last count, almost 1.4 million Nigerians, have actually mandated their account. The BVN has been attached, which is almost like 50% of the number of shareholders that we have in Nigeria. We expect in the next 3-4 months we'll be able to achieve that. We also introduced the direct cash settlement. Initially, we say it's going to be optional. But from 1 or 2 problems that we have seen, we have now set up a committee to look at ways and means that it will be made mandatory. And I think the entire market believes that it should be made mandatory. So we've done extremely well. In 2016, you remember we inaugurated the Capital Market Implementation Council, CAMIC, under the leadership of Mr. Moblorin. Certainly in this market, one can't think about any other better person to drive that initiative than Mr. Moblorin. Now, for me, the major game changer is the quality and the composition of that CAMIC. It's the first time in the history of the Nigerian capital market that we have an advocacy group made up of the best brains you can ever think about in this market, and all the regulators, in the financial system being members of CAMIC. In addition to that, at the last CAMIC meeting, the Honorable Minister of Finance also agreed to be a member of CAMIC. For me, that's a plus, because for her to volunteer to say she wants to be in CAMIC sees that the quality of the people there, the vision of that committee, the strategic focus of that committee is in line with her own vision as well.
The SEC boss there, Mr. Munir Guazo. Well, a couple of activities have been lined up for next week, especially by the regulators, and I'm referring to the Central Bank of Nigeria's MPC meeting, the very first in 2017, which will hold on Monday and Tuesday. And you should watch out on Channels Television, Business Morning, for the live events that will be integrated, as well as Business Incorporated during the week. Next week, you'll also be anticipating earnings of companies that are quoted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange as regards their December 31st, 2016 performances. On that note, that's it on the show for this evening. I'm Temple Ashaju, and I'll see you next time.